Hello everybody, welcome back to Air Tycoon Online 3, and we're bringing you another episode today because we're going to do a little bit of a change of strategy right now. Basically, for the past little while, all I've been doing is increasing the number of Boeing 747s and Tupolev 124s. However, it's kind of becoming like a little bit of a problem here, where I'm kind of running out of good routes. So routes like Almaty to London have so little premium demand, which is fine. I can just decrease the size of the premium classes, it looks like, but I haven't done so enough. Um, Other routes like Santo Domingo, of course, are much better and manage to fill the plane nicely. Um, but yeah, if we look at these routes, they're all still doing very good in general. Um, some of these routes are a little bit newer, so I'm not sure if they're just not done fully kind of accelerating to where they need to be, or the more likely of the two options is that the premium classes are just simply too big for some of these routes, and I need to shrink it a little bit. And well, some routes like this, there's just not enough demand across any of the classes to really fill up the plane. So, kind of with that in mind, um, this Boeing 747 is still going to be the number one option I am looking for because it's still so profitable. I can always, in fact, do a little something like this. So let's just say if the load factor of um, business class is below 93%, right? Anything higher than this, you would probably just rather people fly it at a slightly discounted what am I trying to say, man? What am I trying to say? Um, yeah, like, oh yeah, if anybody more than 93% of people like are like, if there's anything more than 93% load factor, people are probably okay with the route anyway, and decreasing the price wouldn't make you more or make you less because you can only go as high as 100% load factor, right? But if there is less than 93 and by a considerable amount especially, I think this would be a really good idea to kind of just lower the fare just a little bit to try and coax a little bit more people, especially during downticks. We'll make less during upticks, but just a little bit more during downticks, and I think that might be worth it for some of these routes here. For other ones, not so much, but yeah. Anyways, with that in mind, one thing that has happened is we've run out of slots in London. There's a few left in LH2, as you can see, but I cannot hold them because I own too many of the slots already. So with that in mind, I have to do a little bit of a change of strategy compared to what I would normally be doing, which is I'm going to be flying a lot of 707 320Vs. Um, of course, the best strategy is to spam Tupolev 124s and 747s, but that strategy is not better if you can, in fact, not fly the Tupolevs. They make a very small amount of money. The break-even point on these Tupolevs is probably something like when this net profit number says 350K or something like that. Um, the reason it's not actually 0K is because if all your routes make 0K and your airline has a bunch of expenses like advertising and that kind of thing, you're going to be losing a lot of money. So, with that in mind, uh, yeah, for every one 747 you have, you end up with about two Tupolevs. So if those things are not making any money, they're sitting there losing money like they would be, 707s become very competitive then. Um, also, eagle-eyed viewers of you may notice we have a slightly different amount of gems from the last time we played. Let me just make sure I did the right cabin configuration. Yeah, good thing I checked. We're gonna want to really shrink up the business class there. The main reason why we want to shrink the business class is there's just not too many important routes. Of course, like the more important the route, like London to New York or something, the more business demand and high premium demand there is. But when you do really small routes, like these routes are going to be, smaller is going to be better. Now the satisfaction is really bad on these planes, which means we will have to do a cabin renovation before the plane's service life is done. But yeah, with that done, we can open some really really kind of small and obscure routes. Basically, what's going to happen with these routes is later on, when we have just a little bit more money, these routes will be upgraded to um, 6 7s, DC 10s, this kind of tier of plane. Um, yeah, that's gonna be kind of the perfect uh, middle ground. I'm not gonna set the prices. I'm gonna set the prices at the end by doing kind of like a mass price edits on routes with 0% load factor, because of course only the routes I make right now are gonna have 0% load factor exactly. Um, and since we're not don't have like Tupolevs at the end or something, we don't have something else which needs a different pricing model, which is really really convenient. So yeah, anyways, I'm just looking for kind of any real good cities available, and we're gonna spam out some stopover routes. Now, the reason why we are doing these once again is they're much more slot efficient. Meaning, we can just cancel a route like this basically. It's a little bit unfortunate, but sometimes we need to do what we need to do. Reduce the schedules there, and now we have more slots to work with. Kind of those were in London 1, so we'll just fly a little bit to London 1. I reckon we'll have a lot of slots in London 1, 2, and 3, kind of by the time the world is done. So we don't have to worry. Maybe not 3, but definitely 1 and 2. We're gonna have a lot of slots there, so we won't have to worry about kind of losing the efficiency of our maintenance depot. Now, this is because I bought another one in London Heathrow 1, because we're pushing 500 slots there and a decent number of good stopover routes. So I kind of thought that that would be a good idea. Now, like, once again, these are really like small looking routes, but they actually perform quite well. Um, when you really kind of pay attention to what's going on, and the fact that, the demand is just surprisingly just good enough. Um, yeah, and that's really the power of stopover routes. Even when we upgrade it to a larger plane, a lot of these routes will still be okay. They won't be good anymore, like these 200 business and tour destinations to London. Um, but something like 767, I believe, it's definitely in kind of like the ballpark where these routes will be quite successful. And yeah, this feels good. I took a nap, still trying to recover from my cold, or flu, or whatever this is, right? And I'm feeling really good right now. Although so long, it's now 1 a.m. and I'm not that sleepy because I've already slept for like 4.5 hours, something like that. So, um, yeah. Anyhow, let's continue to open some more cute little stopover routes. You just really can't go wrong with stopover routes. They are always so beautiful. Um, and yeah, like, let me, I should have done this at the beginning of the episode. Sorry, guys. Just showing you guys my profits. So, we are going into a little bit of a fuel spike, according to the news there. But we're making about 150K on upticks, which is pretty good. Our downticks, I don't think this downtick will fall below 100K despite the fuel. And that is also with extremely maximized advertising and service investments. Yeah, if we take a look at our advertising levels, we can see that we're doing an extreme amount in Paris and Frankfurt. Once again, we just need to do this to kind of avoid getting slot blocked at all times. Um, as soon as Frankfurt and Paris are done, I'm going to kind of do a little analysis in the world, see which airports have a lot of slots available, as honestly, slot availability might be better, more important than like the goodness of the city at some point. Paris is going to be slot blocked probably about the time I get it, which will be annoying, but what can you do? So yeah, like I'll probably be focusing on cities like Rome, Madrid, or Barca, whichever of these cities kind of has the best looking situation. But Amsterdam would be probably the best option currently. It's not that good in business and tour, but yeah, not that much competition. Just doesn't have a flight to Tokyo. That's pretty crazy. I am gonna focus on that actually. And we'll actually just crank up this investment right now. Yeah, what's 10K? You know what I mean? Like, what's another 10K in investment? Also, if you see the customer service level, I've had it maxed for a while now. And I'm kind of like wondering if I should bring this down a bit because 91,000 a month for customer service level, yes, it is increasing rapidly, but it's kind of holding back my expansion like significantly. Like most of the progress I make in kind of growing that feels eaten a little bit by, um, that number just being so large. And I'm going to take this down to seven first class seats and like 40 business seats. Yeah, this is just such a huge um, economy cabin. I don't know what kind of routes support such a big economy cabin and such a um, kind of mid-sized what's it called, other cabins. But hey, we'll figure something out here. Let's go delete a new route. Brussels, you are the new cut until further notice and further slots. Um, and where do we get slots? That London Heathrow, one or two? That is two. So yeah, we can look for a good-ish route. Yeah, as you can see, it's becoming more difficult. We have, I guess somewhere like Doha is not bad. Doha will reach 300, 400, guaranteed later on, but I'm not sure exactly how big Doha gets, but we'll use Doha anyway and try and find the North American counterpart now. Yeah, I guess something like Salt Lake City or Calgary. Yeah, I think Calgary here, which I think will be 5 slots per week. Yeah, that's actually, yeah. Forget not to change the price. That's probably a little bit of unnecessariness there. Let's go ahead and look for another route. Yeah, it's like both the Asian side and the North American side are starting to kind of really get like it's getting harder to find good stopover routes, especially longer ones, which kind of create more demand for themselves. Just the way the math works for this game. Um, anyways, yeah, the long routes in this game are just overpowered. I think that's the easiest way I can say that. Yeah, like especially in the 4 schedule per week range, I feel like is the sweet spot. That's kind of the ranges where you get both high schedules per week, and you kind of get the advantage of if you stretch the 4 schedules to the point just below where it drops to 3 schedules per week, then you can get quite like good efficiency from your routes too. But that's kind of these are like smaller gains compared to the like overall most important things, which is just using all your slots, picking decent routes, um, having good satisfaction, that kind of thing. Um, in fact, let's take a look at the number one company. This is what I've been doing with most of my credits. Most of the credits that you see slowly uh, kind of changing amounts over time. One thing we did do is, where is it? We did collect the little reward here, yeah, for 50 credits. So 50 plus 30 plus 20 plus 10 plus 20 for joining an alliance, which I did. I did this off camera. I just joined Star Alliance. Apparently, alliances give up to 12% passengers, which is just remarkably worth it in exchange for what, like 2% of your profit, not your income, which can make them really, really efficient. So, anyways, with that in mind, do I want a DC 62? All these things are so slow. I hate them. Yeah, I don't want a DC 62. I would rather fly more 707s because these birds are just so much more beautiful. And hopefully this enables us to lease another plane. This is, not quite, not quite. So we need to buy another 707. Okay, let's see if that allows us to lease another one. If not, we just have to buy another one, right? Yes, sir. All right, so that is probably going to be all the planes we can purchase this turn. It's actually not bad. 700,000 just for, sleeping a few turns is feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Feels a little bit like getting something for nothing, even though I know it was just a lot of time passed and I got some credits that way. But yeah, yeah. After we make these routes, pretty quickly, we're going to take a look at some of our competitors to see where we're at compared to them. Spoiler alert, we're already doing quite well compared to most of the players in the server, despite having only played for like 2 turns. It feels like not 2 turns, I mean like 2 years. Yeah, actually, I think I started in like just over 2 years ago now. So yeah, just 2 days, and we're already kind of, in my opinion, doing really really well. Sorry, excuse me. I've been building that one up for quite a while and trying not to, and it was not helping very much. So, anyways, some more slots. Yeah, it feels really bad, kind of just decreasing schedules on just like fine and profitable routes. But if it's to make space for what's it called, long haul flights, it's just going to be worth it. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I hate to do this, but it's just what you have to do sometimes, and that's the way it is. So let's go ahead and make sure we don't use or are very consistent with the size of the route on each side of the stopover. So if we pick around 200 business and tour on one side, we pick about 200 business and tour on the other side, unless one route is longer or shorter. Um, then we can kind of use that as a balancing mechanism. But if they're roughly the same length, we want roughly the same size. Um, so for example, you could pick a long route with a good business and tour, and then a short route with a bad business and tour, or shorter at least. That's actually a good way to fly a very large plane on a stopover route without losing too much load factor. The short route will suffer a lot in the premium classes compared to the long route. But other than that, it's a pretty good strategy. So let's see. Somewhere we're really pushing like 250 right now as the limit of business and tour for these longer flights that I'm looking for. Um, yeah, as you can see, even finding a route with 250 combined business and tours, starting to become just a little bit difficult. I think Fortezella right here is a good option with just about 250, and it's quite long. Yeah, 7,000. It's not a long guest, but we'll make it work. Um, yeah, it's got to be something in here, which is good, or maybe Astana or Omsk. Ooh, no, these are not great. Ulaanbaatar, I know, is not very impressive as a city. Muscat is actually pretty good, so let's do this. This should be 5 schedules per week, though, so um, let's go ahead and get an extra slot in Fortezella. Oh, no, it's 4. Why is this 4? Schedules by plane, 4. No, 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 no. I'm not going to do this because I know that 5 schedules per week is close. Um, Baghdad? No, there's competition there. Okay. Baku? Nope, that's terrible. Osh. Ooh, Osh. Osh is kind of bad. Omsk. Omsk, why not? It's just a little bit worse than the other city there. I forget what I was going to do. Muscat. But if it allows 5 schedules per week, that's a bigger difference, especially on optics. And yeah, anyways, with that in mind, I'm going to set all the prices as such, right? And boom, all these prices are perfect. I'm gonna need I will adjust these down for routes which don't have enough demand uh, later on. But yeah, you can see this looks pretty nice. Remember, keep in mind this is a down tick, right? And if we sort by load factor or something like that, we can see that we have a lot of hundreds all the way down the list. And once we get quite far down, we get to just a few Boeing 747s where the premium classes were just a bit too big because these are not good cities. Like Kathmandu is at most 250 business and tour, if I believe. Only 34 slots have been taken out in Kathmandu in total. Actually, it's actually pretty good, the hell, but I think it's just all tour and not that much business, which makes it a little bit harder to fill premium classes. Yeah, anyhow, like what's something like this doing, like Havana. Yeah, just like almost full, but not completely. One thing we do want to make sure of is that we have satisfied um, human resources and stuff like that, employees. Because yeah, the last time I was not too careful about that, it really came back to bite me. I lost almost 350,000 profit during the night when I was sleeping. Where that could have easily been prevented by just well, noticing. And anyways, with that done, let's go ahead and take a look at what our competitors are doing. So let's here. Let's look at all three of the top three. I think would be a good thing to do. So um, yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing this frequently in your regular games, but if you end up buying like $10 worth of credits, I think this is one of the funnest things to do with your credits, like once every like 5 years to get a good idea. And I'd recommend if you're in that case, take screenshots. I'm not taking screenshots because I have 5,000 credits basically, which I'm not going to spend, so I can just do this like every couple turns when I feel like it if I really want to. Of course, I think once I overtake them, I'll probably do it less because it'll be a little bit less interesting. And I say that with such confidence, but like honestly, I could cut my advertising expenses right now and have almost half this guy's profit. Like, this guy's doing 80K and 80K. I'm doing close to 100 and 100 as a smaller company, right? So if I were to invest at the same rate compared to the size of my profit, it'd be about half. So I'd immediately jump my profit about 100K. So yeah, with that in mind, let's take a look kind of around network. Mostly Southeast Asia, Jakarta, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur. And if we take a look at all the routes, they're all kind of single fire, um, like 707, DC8 kind of routes. So if we take a look at them, they're pretty good. They actually make more than I thought, about 3K each. Of course, the stopovers I'm making are going to make just a little bit more, which is going to be pretty nice. Um, yeah, this is just kind of his setup in general. There's a lot of routes which kind of have a little bit of lower price with competition. But yeah, I'm surprised how profitable flying like this is. I'm also really surprised how profitable just like random smaller Jakarta routes are. Like Jakarta to Mumbai, yeah, sure, that's profitable, but like Jakarta to Kota, Kimbaloo is filling up a 737. So I guess 737s just aren't that big, but yeah, some of these routes are struggling a bit. Never mind. Um, that's not good. One less than 1K from a 737. Jakarta, Hiroshima, yeah, like these kind of routes are like I'm surprised how well they're doing considering they're down tick. These are down ticks, but yeah, the bottom few routes here are a little bit ugly. Um, yeah, so this is the number one player, 380K per turn. That actually means he hasn't grown for the past um probably 2 or 3 turns I've looked at him. It's always been about the same, like um kind of 300-ish K upticks. There are downticks. I mean, 380, maybe like 420 on upticks, something like that. Like, so definitely doing well, but not out of the reach. What are we at right now? We are just slightly under 1/3 of that at 116K. But let's look at our company values, right? Um, yeah, if we take a look at this, I'm at 3.5 million and he is at 28 million, which means he has 28 million or 31 million, sorry, of assets that are making him money, and I have only 3.5 million in assets making me money, and I'm making a third as much, almost, not quite, just under a third, right? So let's just say we extrapolated me to being 31 million. It would, first of all, I guarantee you it would not be at the same efficiency as these first 3.5 million because there's just not enough space in the world for that many Tupolevs. Like, just not enough slots. Um, yeah, it's like I could buy out like all the airport, like eventually when there's Paris 2 and Frankfurt 2, etc., you buy all the slots there. Um, it would make a smallish dent on just the number of flights that you need to kind of conquer these. Um, yeah, geez, just looking at Paris, man. Well, most of the good routes are taken. A little bit sad. Let's take a look at what like Amsterdam competition is. That is light. That is really, really light. I really should have paid attention to this when I was picking my cities and done Amsterdam first. Frankfurt, of course, Frankfurt's a little bit bigger, but competition's pretty good here too. Like we have places like Phoenix, San Diego, Seattle, Vancouver. Vancouver's not that good, of course, but we have like all these like 200-ish, or not 200-ish, 350-ish business and tourist cities. Mexico City. Jeez. That's a bit too far down. But Rio's good. So wow, yeah, I forgot to check London to these cities. Ooh, these are stopovers. I should definitely compete with that. Like I should just put a direct 747 on this or something because I don't even know where to stop it over to. Like I could do a cheap little stopover to Frankfurt or something like that. Who knows? Um, yeah. That I should definitely do tomorrow is just clean up some of these premium routes. You know, we don't have competition with San Diego. That's just a stopover route. That's basically nothing. Yeah, same with Phoenix. Maybe same with Las Vegas. Okay, no, Las Vegas has a real competition. So yeah, I should kind of check the competition on certain cities that I haven't paid much attention to, like this, and just to see which ones we should compete with. Anyways, sorry. Um, anyways, let's take a look at the number 2 ranked guy. This is the guy I'm actually much less concerned about. I forget where he's based. I think he's based a little bit in London, actually. Yeah, just a little bit. Um, I think those routes might actually just be stopover throughs, like he's based in Seoul or something. Stopover once in London and then over onto somewhere else. I think might be what's going on there. Um, Take a look at this guy. This guy has a massive uptick downtick swing. Okay, this isn't from like a branch or anything. No, this is just um kind of variance. I think this guy actually had a slightly higher uptick, but I think he leases, right? Yeah, and because he leases, um, that means he's gonna have bigger uptick downtick swing, and it means he's gonna have a slightly lower value from those leased aircraft, despite actually like having more aircraft working for him and making money. This guy also does not abuse stopovers. He actually has some stopovers. Never mind. Um, but still, just not a lot. You know what I mean? Like most of these are direct. Most of the stopovers are just like kind of one off. Ooh, he is adding a lot of 747-200s. This plane just came out, so he had a lot like saved up for that. Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah. 747-200 is a great plane. I wish I could operate some of them myself, but alas, we kind of got to hold out and wait, as those planes are just a little bit too expensive, and 707's actually ROI slightly faster on stupid routes, which you'll never get competition on, like Dhaka to London. And if you do get competition on routes like this, you're playing in a very competitive world, so I applaud you for that one. I hope to play another Star Trail someday. Anyway, so that's this guy. I don't really know what too much to say about it. Like he's just good, solid player. Might be a little bit difficult to chase down. If I do remember correctly, though, this was a guy who was not putting too much emphasis on his service investment, but let's go ahead and take a look at that. Actually, that's the easiest way to check. And yeah, service investment expense almost nothing. Advertising investment expense almost nothing. So his margins aren't actually that good. Most of his margins is done by cutting these service investments. Um, he's a bigger company with much lower investment than mine, which means he's literally using an investment level of 1 or 2. And once my service investment level starts to push the mid 40s and 50s and 60s, we're gonna really see a big difference. Like let's see if we can find an example. Okay, here's my London to Pittsburgh flown by 747-100. 94% satisfaction. Let's go ahead and take a look at one of his. I would imagine it's going to be much lower. Does he fly 747-100s? I think he does. Yeah, he has some. Okay, let's take a look at one of these. All right. Is there a way you can look at the routes from here? I guess I'll just have to find them. That's a new 747 100. That, of course, um, won't show us the satisfaction. Oh, I think I know what to do. Just sort by satisfaction and look at highest. Yeah, his highest currently is 90. So that's only a 5% gap. But more importantly, looking at how much his 747 100s are making, he doesn't have a shrunk cabin. So he is using a stock cabin configuration. Let me see if I can find his cabin configuration. Does it show me anywhere? Da, 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 anyways, we can see his plane's making no money. Right, interestingly enough, it's got 90% satisfaction, but I really reckon that's because his cabin is not shrunk like mine is. Why is he making some of these routes? Like Las Vegas to Sao Paulo, Cape Town to Singapore. Like, are they 747 routes? Eh, maybe, maybe not. Like what? I got 4K from a 747 one. I know it's leased, right? But yeah, like I know this is leased, but yeah, there's no way he has the correctly sized cabins because otherwise he'd be making so much more. I mean, look at this. Um, look at how much hours are making. Yeah, like these are halves of stopovers, right? These are the owned ones, so they make 7K. That's not really fair. Here's our leased, mine are leased. Let's look at the leased one. Here's a leased one. This half's making 5K. The other half's making 5K. This says leased. This doesn't look leased. This is really making that much on a leased aircraft. Let's find a definitely not leased one. This one, definitely not leased. Uh, yeah, one half is a competition route. Yeah, like just. Oh, I think I was on the wrong mode. Sorry. All right, this is definitely not leased, or definitely is leased. And we can see it's making 7K, between the two halves of the stopover and a little bit. Satisfaction is higher with a smaller cabin. It's already starting to make a difference. Um, is spending as much as I am worth it right now? I don't know, but that's the like enjoyment of the game is experimenting with different setups. I'm gonna hold this for as long as I can and see if we can overtake them without ever dropping that thing off 7. Um, what I can drop off over time is the advertising in the cities. Yeah, the nice thing about this is if you're more patient with this, these will um, grow quite quickly anyway. And once you get bigger, the advertising level in your cities kind of like becomes a lesser evil because they're individually per city, and they kind of cap out at about 30K. They don't get more expensive. They don't scale up kind of infinitely the way the other investment level does. Right, so like if you just have a few cities that are important and you run them at 30K or even something like 15K, and just this will creep up to over 100 eventually. Um, this kind of knowledge level or something like that. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I need to cough. I'll see you guys next time. Can't click on my end recording thingy. Oh no.